While your day is winding down, they're just getting started. This is South Coast Tonight with Chris McCarthy and Marcus Farrow. They've got you covered on all the news of the day, from local issues to politics on both sides of the aisle. This is the place where the movers and shakers come to be heard, to listen, and where they're held accountable. This is South Coast Tonight on WBSM.
Welcome to South Coast Tonight. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Chris McCarthy.
And we're joined by, well, first of all, I just want to say we gotta let the audience know you have till 9 o'clock to send us your favorite Red Sox memory on App Chat. We've got a bunch so far. We're looking forward to seeing more, and we'll announce the winner after the 9 o'clock news, so stay tuned.
4 tickets to the Red Sox, courtesy of Scott Lang and Lang X Ferris and Bullock.
4 p.m. tomorrow at Fenway Park.
Include your email, please.
Include your email, please. That's the way we send you the tickets. They're digital. So we're joined by Steph Pickup, a candidate for Fairhaven School Committee. Hey, Steph, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thanks for coming in, Stephanie. We really appreciate it.
So before we dive into the issues, I suppose, why don't you tell us, just for people who may not know who you are you and why are you running for Fairhaven School Committee?
Well, my name is, as you said, Stephanie Pickup. And to just eliminate any confusion, my sister-in-law and I share the same exact name, Stephanie Lynn Pickup, middle name and everything. And so Steph is an amazing ELL teacher in the district.
Oh, nice.
And so it's funny because people are continuously asking her, hey, you can put one of your signs in my yard. She's like, it's actually not me. I'm not running. So just to eliminate any confusion, I work at Carefree Homes, our family-owned home improvement company that's based here in Fairhaven. So I'm the marketing and community relations manager over there.
Cool.
So that's my professional stuff, and I'm also a realtor as well. So with Bold Real Estate in Mattapoisett, but I'm a mom, and I have 4 children that I have raised here in the district. I've been a parent in the Fairhaven School District for going on 20 years this year. So it's been a long journey. 4 kids with 4 completely different educational experiences. So I really have some unique perspective as far as that goes. My 3 daughters are all in college now, so I've had, out of the 3, 2 have graduated from Fairhaven. One had the amazing opportunity of attending Tabor Academy. She was recruited for basketball, so on athletic scholarship. So she graduated from Tabor in 2021. So I've been exposed as a parent to private school education. Right. So I kind of can see the benefits of that, which is wonderful. Sure. But yeah, we've actually had honestly, Fairhaven's been a pretty great experience for all of them. And then I have had a child with an IEP, so I know what that is too. So I've blubbered my way through 7 years of IEP meetings. So yeah. I have, a child that graduated number 10 in the class. I have all these totally different learning styles, personalities, but definitely lots of experience here in the district as far as a parent goes.
So, Stephanie, what attracted you to the school committee? You're not a political person. You're a private sector person. You're a taxpayer here in town. You're a mom. What attracted you to run? Why would you bother, I guess, is really the question.
Right. So, I've been very involved with the school. So before I was working, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I dedicated about a decade volunteering directly in the school. So I was a PTO volunteer. I was a volunteer librarian. I was a classroom volunteer. I was a Soul Sisters after-school running program volunteer. I've been on hiring committees and parent focus groups. I've been I was entrenched in the schools pretty heavily for the first 10 years of raising my kids. And, I see how, firsthand how much our teachers and our paraprofessionals and actually all the faculty and leadership in the schools, how important they are to the success of our kids. And so fast forward a little, bit. So I'm back and working. COVID hits and the world gets turned upside down. Teachers are struggling to figure out how to teach kids from school. And then I had a child with what happened was I had a child on an IEP, but he was doing so great. And so it was about the year before, actually it might have been the fall before COVID, so 2019. They were like, you're doing great. He doesn't need an IEP anymore. And I said, oh, okay, this is fantastic. Well, when COVID hit, without the IEP, I didn't have anything to support my child.
Okay. Wow.
So I felt extremely helpless, and with all the different, arbitrary and nonsensical things that were happening at the time that I know teachers and parents were very frustrated with, I felt like I needed to take a more active role when I had the opportunity. So that's why I'm here today. And I am a huge volunteer in the community as well. So community service is at the heart of everything I do. I am on the board of directors for Gnome Surf. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's a nonprofit that provides surf therapy to athletes of all ages and abilities. We specialize mostly, we do all kids, but we're well known for working with our neurodivergent kiddos, so kiddos on the spectrum, Down syndrome, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and more. So I do that.
You take them surfing?
Surfing, yes. It's basically you should come check it out.
I absolutely would love to. That's fantastic.
No, I'm serious, Chris.
No,
actually, do you know
so
who?
am I.
Kristen's the one who. Kristen got me into it.
I thought so.
Yeah, Kristen Pacheco is the one who got me into it because she used to be one of the instructors over there. So Kristen had been telling me for like a year or so, Steph, you need to try out Gnome Surf. So next thing you know, my kids are surfing. And it was like our saving grace during COVID because that's when we started. Was 2020. It was one of the only things that we could do.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yes,
really
we started.
cool.
So the next thing you know, my kids are surfing. And next thing you know, I'm on the board of directors. Like, okay. So
Very cool.
yeah, and then I work with our local United Way of Greater New Bedford. I'm heavily involved with them for the past 10 years.
That's really how I knew you when you first came in.
Yeah.
Because you've done the United Way stuff through us.
Yeah, I
Right.
do a lot of stuff. So I was just over there today because we have Hunger Heroes tomorrow. So I've been on the Hunger Heroes committee. I've been on so many committees. I should really have an office over there. I'm going to ask Michelle Hantman, may I please have an office over there?
You can build her one.
Yeah,
you
right.
can build one, right?
Yes, I could. We could do that. So I'm very involved with that and the Friends of Jack Foundation. And I'm not sure if you knew that I was the co-founder of our Heroes Tree. I used to come on the radio talking about that like about 20 years ago. So my husband, Nate, is a West Pointer. So we were active duty military for 5 years and then the National Guard for 4. He deployed a couple times, Bosnia and Afghanistan. And I had actually self-published. I was a kid at the time. I look at it now because I was the age of my children. I was 23.
Right.
I self-published this book for military kids and ended up connecting with another author to create our Heroes Tree, which is a national program now that honors the service and sacrifice of our nation's military families. It's been implemented pretty much worldwide on military installations, like lots of really cool stuff. But I could keep going, but lots of community. So serving others and...
So your husband was a football star, right?
He was, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Nate,
That's what I thought.
When I first,
Yeah.
I grew up in Dartmouth. So when we got out of the military and we moved back here to Fairhaven, my parents are from Fairhaven, so I knew a lot of people in Fairhaven, but I wasn't Steph when I first moved back to Fairhaven. I was Nate Pickup's wife.
Right.
oh, you're Nate Pickup's wife. Oh my gosh, he was such a great athlete. Yes, I know. He's really good at basketball. He's actually really good at everything except bowling. I can beat him at bowling.
That's funny.
So, and he blames that on getting old and stuff like that. But he's good at everything because he's naturally very athletic. But he worked very hard in high school to be as good as he was. So, he's an exceptional.
West Point's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So so he was recruited there for football. He ended up getting an injury, so he didn't end up playing, and then it's very difficult at West Point. So he had to get on track for academics and he did end up lettering in basketball there. He walked on as a basketball player at West Point. Yeah, so, but I started dating him when he was his second year at West Point, so I was only 16 years old. So I grew up going to West Point, even though I didn't attend the academy. I feel like I did.
Right. You got snuck in at night?
Yeah. Well, no, we didn't do that. We always followed the rules. But I did get to go to all the fun, like 100th night and ring weekend and all those fun West Point traditions, and we've carried those on with our kids. We go to Army Navy every year, which is coming to Foxborough this year.
Is it really?
Yeah, so I wonder if you guys are going to get tickets, like with a radio station or something.
We'll try.
We will try.
Well, just so you know, you should try and ask Mark. Ask Mark to get you some Army Navy tickets. It'd be so fun. But it's coming to Foxborough. It's usually in Philadelphia. Or
it is. Yeah,
in Philly or Baltimore.
That's for this year is coming?
Yeah, so
Wow.
this is it was like a shock because usually it goes back and forth between Baltimore and Philly. I think it's been in DC in the past. This upcoming next few years is going to be a total mix-up because but when we heard Foxborough, we were like geeking out. We were like, oh my gosh, this is great. Because we used to go for like the whole weekend, but then when the kids started working and getting jobs, and it became a lot, so we could only like do a 1-day zip to Philly.
Sure.
And we would zip to Philly and zip back in 1 day. We'd hit, there was like a really good Italian restaurant in Philly. We would just make a really long day of it. So we're like, this is great. We can just leave home and it's 45 minutes away.
Right.
So so service is really at the heart of our family. It's at the heart. It's what I really truly enjoy doing. So, I really see serving on the school committee here in Fairhaven as just sort of an extension of my community service. And I think I can offer some interesting and new perspectives as a parent, as a business leader, as a community volunteer. I think I'm able to offer some fresh perspectives.
We're speaking with Stephanie Pickup. It's spelled just like the way it sounds. You can see it on the ballot on Monday.
Yep.
Stephanie Pickup.
Try ordering takeout with that last name. Try ordering pizza. Is this for pickup? Hello, is this for pickup or delivery? And you say it's for delivery, and they say, "What's your last name?" And you say pickup. We thought you said delivery. Like, no, the last name is pickup.
That is really funny.
And
we should have opened with that.
Yeah, the pharmacy is actually tricky too because it's drop off or pick up.
That's right.
And then you pick it
You're
up.
not speaking to a person, right?
Yeah, well, you pick up, and then they say, "Are you dropping off or picking up?" And you say, "Pick up." What's your last name? Pick up. Well, we know we know what you're picking up, but what's your last name? The last name is Pickup.
That's like Abbott and Costello. Who's on first? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Of course.
So, you like you said, you have a position at Carefree Homes, a family-owned business. What type of that type of experience that you have in the private sector? How do you think it'll translate to being a good school committee member?
Well, I think with business. So we're a family company, and that family vibe goes right through to our employees. So. It's important for us to have those connections with our employees, but there also comes a point where you have to kind of have those boundaries of this is business and we have a great working relationship and I really care about you as a human being. But if for some reason, expectations aren't being met, or if for some reason a particular position isn't, what's best for the company, then you need to be able to separate that so that you can make a decision based on the best, what's best for the company.
Sure.
So,
or the school system.
Yeah. So it's the same thing.
Right.
So, I think small town politics, it's difficult because, a lot of times you're on the sidelines with a lot of the people who are involved in the district.
Right.
You're cheering for your kids at a sporting event, and we have a lot of really great people in our district. But we do have to make sure that we are using our tax dollars wisely, that we are investing money in the appropriate things, like we need teachers and paraprofessionals. We need to make sure that we're providing competitive pay and compensation for them. They're the boots on the ground. That's where it matters most. So we need to be careful. I know a lot of, because I've been talking basically with teachers, with parents, with just members of the community. And this happens, I think, a lot in a lot of districts, is that we're very top heavy, admin wise. And so people are like, why do we have assistant insert this position here? Why do we have that?
Right.
And I said, that's a good question. Sure. I don't know the answer to that because, again, it's going back to we need paraprofessionals. I mean, especially now after COVID, the emotional and the mental health of the kids is just, they need it.
Sure.
So it's academically, emotionally, all these things. We need the extra set of hands in the classroom. I know I volunteered in the classroom and I thought I really, that I could handle kids because I've got 4.
Mm-hmm. But they're yours.
But like teachers, that's a special person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like a very special person to be able to do that. So I am so thankful for anyone like my sister-in-law or any of the teachers that we've had, just to be able to do that every day. It's exhausting.
Sure.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
And especially now with all the challenges and through COVID, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine what it was like to be a teacher. I know how bad it was to be a parent, but like the teachers to have their own families at home, and then they're going and, they're teaching remotely and they're teaching in person, or there's some school districts required, both. You had to simultaneously teach in person and to the kids at school.
Right.
So Fairhaven, we actually did it pretty good. We had like a hybrid. You were in school for a week and then you were home for a week, so it wasn't as crazy. But I do have friends that are parents here in the district that teach in other districts. They were just like, they were required to teach live to the kids in class and then try to keep track of the kids in the virtually. And it was like, you can't do both. It's impossible. So teachers have been really just beaten down the last couple of years. And we need to make sure that they feel supported and, making sure that they're compensated the amount of money they should be compensated. I know there's budget things. So you have to, but again, that's evaluating what positions are necessary and making sure we're funneling funds to the boots on the ground, in my opinion. So I think for business-wise, my business experience, and I was telling you earlier, when I came to Carefree Homes 10 years ago, we were still telemarketing. So my job was to basically dismantle the telemarketing room, and I had a whole room of people and great people that I built relationships with, and knowing eventually I had to basically wean this off, and I had to fire people or let them go, or just because they weren't performing. And it wasn't so much their fault as telemarketing itself was dying. It was just
technology.
You had caller ID. People are not going to pick up the phone anymore. It was very challenging because for me, I'm a people person, so I very much connect with people, especially when I'm working with them. I get very close with them. But I had to dismantle the entire thing. And
went in there like the Terminator.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
Did you ever see that George Clooney movie where he has to fire people and they fly him around the country? Up in the air.
It's a great movie.
I've never seen it. I'm going to have to look at it.
Excellent movie.
It was based on your life, apparently.
So you know what? It's funny because we just had a home show up at Foxborough at Gillette Stadium this weekend, and I'm able to balance, that whole business personal relationship thing. Yeah. And I actually called back one of my old telemarketers who I still am very good friends with. And we still have dinner twice a year. There's a couple of us. We have dinner.
You pay.
Yeah. Sometimes we actually take turns. We take turns.
All right.
But yeah, so we still enjoy being together, but I'm able to maintain that personal relationships. But, we had that business relationship, but it came to an end.
Right.
So you have to be able to separate the private, the personal versus the business, and know that it's not personal, that it's all business.
So
I appreciate that.
You're talking about raising teachers' pay, budgetary concerns. There is a proposal right now to, override the Proposition 2.5, which would basically mean that there'd be no cap on your on the amount in which the town can raise your property taxes every year. Now, three of us here are all taxpayers in the town of Fairhaven. It's something we've got to consider. What's your position on it?
Yeah, so no. We have, first of all, fiscal responsibility is something that's one of my personal things. We've all got budgets and we've got to stick to it. So we need to take a look at where spending, what's our spending, what is unnecessary. And I know it's hard in a small town because budgets are limited, but fiscal responsibility. So no, I don't think raising the taxes. It's no, let's rein in the spending and see where it's being. And that's you're gonna have to make a lot of tough decisions. But we have elderly that are on a fixed income, and it's with inflation and the cost of living going up. You go to I went to the grocery store this morning. It was $300 at Market Basket, which has great prices.
Right.
And the guy behind me was like, "What? $300? Do you spend that every week?" And I said, "Well, I have a teenage son who drinks a lot of milk, and he likes it,
Right.
So, and I do buy organic, so that has a little bit more onto it. But yeah, the cost of living is going up. We can't hit people with a tax increase, and some people try to minimize it. But you know what? $50 or $100, whatever that would be, that's a lot to some people.
Sure.
And quite frankly, I think as a taxpayer, I know what to do with my money better than any government does. So. No, definitely not an advocate for raising taxes.
So what I'm hearing, Stephanie, is that you'll have a holistic approach as a school committee member to the entire town budget. In other words, because the schools have a lot of power when it comes to the funding. In fact, they're the primary source, the primary absorber of most of the tax dollars in the town of Fairhaven is the schools. So you'd keep an eye on that. Yeah,
I think it's all around. I mean, I know that there's a lot of things we can't control. We're not, school committee is limited in what we can control, but as a whole, the town should be, really just, keeping the taxpayers in mind with all their decisions. And I feel like it's always easy to spend somebody else's money. You know what I mean?
Very true, Stephanie. Very true.
So I think the least that elected officials can do, and if I'm one of them within the school committee, then, fiscally sound decisions are important in maximizing your dollars and making sure they're spent efficiently.
So, Stephanie, we appreciate you coming on. Before we let you go, is there anything else? Where can people go to learn more about your campaign?
So I'm on Facebook. It's a Vote Steph Pickup on Facebook if you want to check it out a little bit. If you have any questions, concerns, I have been inviting parents and friends. My friends too, yes, but parents, teachers, community members, if they have a question, they can email me directly at votestephpickup@gmail.com. So if they want to shoot me a question, I have had several constituents send me some emails with their concerns, and I'm happy to answer those. And if you want to post my response on Facebook, because I don't get into Facebook fights, like I don't do that.
It's good.
And I'm actually...
That's a good quality stuff.
Yeah, so if people want to fight with me on Facebook, it really won't happen. So don't try.
Right.
Because I'm not going to engage you in that kind of a way. So I have had people privately message me, and if you want to share that just for transparency to see what I say, I'm totally fine with people screenshotting my responses. That's fine, but I'm not on I'm on social media, but I manage like 12 pages, so I turn off notifications. So
Sure.
I don't, like if you have just a personal Facebook page, you might have your notifications on, but when you manage like 12 pages, you're not going to have your notifications on.
Right, no, sure.
You'll be constantly hit with notifications. So please just email me, votestephpickup@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I really would appreciate everyone's consideration in their vote on April 3rd.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Really
so much for
appreciate it.
joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hi. Thanks to Steph Pickup. That was a great interview.
She's a very, very nice person, and her skill set, her experience. You know, it's tough to be on the school committee. It's tough to be a local elected official. I know that. You know that, Marcus. You do develop personal relationships. I was a boss in the private sector, and it was funny when she was talking about laying people off. Sometimes the last time you saw someone was when you laid them off, and you run into them at the mall or wherever, and it's, you know, it's always an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
So,
well,
she has a skill set that I think is a very necessary skill set. Being able to know how to professionally terminate someone.
yeah, I agree.
It's you know, the reason it's such a precious skill is it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
So if you have it, it's a pretty good experience.
Up in the Air, by the way, was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Very good movie. I enjoyed that. I really underrated, actually.
Really underrated.
Yeah.
Stephanie Pickup. Shall we? The election's Monday.
The election's Monday, so
Do we have early voting here in Fairhaven?
good question.
I hope we don't. I think the early voting thing is foolish.
I like early voting.
It costs too much for how many people actually use it, in my opinion.
Well, I'm trying to segue into the Red Sox.
Go ahead, Marcus. After you get home
We got some
from the game on Saturday, make sure you vote on Monday.
We got some app chat messages. Again, you have till 9 o'clock. Message us your favorite Red Sox memory. We read a bunch in the first hour. The winner will be selected and announced after the 9 o'clock news. So we have 1999 All-Star Game in Fenway. Pedro strikes out 5 of 6 in 2 innings. Then we have the first, and then New Bedford resident says, that was from Jack in New Bedford. Now, New Bedford resident says, the first game resumed after the 9/11 pause when the entire stadium sang New York, New York in unison because of the traditional Sweet Caroline. That's a good one. Someone else said David Ortiz after the marathon bombing. This is our effing city, right? Mm-hmm. I also got, which I'm surprised I didn't get more of this one, when Pedro Martinez threw Don Zimmerman to the ground in that.
That was pretty good.
I remember watching that live on a very old TV,
right.
You know, in the early 2000s. I remember watching it live, actually, and seeing him. The guy, Don Zimmerman ran out, I mean, this old man running at a professional athlete in his prime, right?
Right.
Ran at him, and then Pedro just took him, threw him to the ground. He had to tape his nose. That's a pretty good one.
And what else could Pedro really do?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was the most
like
merciful he could possibly be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
so that's another good one. Again, you've got until 9 o'clock, and again, the winner will be selected, and we'll announce at after the 9 o'clock news. So,
Marcus, my Red Sox memory, I have a lot of them. I went with the Quartermarshes. Dave Quartermarsh, who was a gym teacher at Apponequet, and his son and I, Dave Jr., were good friends. I was in elementary school. We went to a Red Sox game. So my brothers, they didn't go to the Red Sox game. I went with the Quartermarshes. And so my parents gave them some money to go to the Dartmouth Mall to get a record.
Wow.
And when I got home, of course, it was going to be my record too. It was REO Speedwagon's High Fidelity, which is a great, great album. It's all the REO Speedwagon songs that you know, if you know any, are from High Fidelity. It was a great 1980s album. So that's one of my Red Sox memories. Going to the Red Sox all day, getting a sunburn, coming home to having a brand new cool record.
My favorite Red Sox memory was talking to Chad Finn on South Coast Tonight on the WBSM podcast feature. You can check that out.
That's a good. In fact, Scott Lang said, make sure we mention Chad Finn's book.
Yeah, the Boston Globe story of the Red Sox, which is it seems like a really great book. It's a curated over 300 articles curated by Boston Globe columnist Chad Finn, and you get to, like Scott Lang said, you don't get to just talk about the Red Sox in the 20s. You get to hear what people in the 1920s were saying about the Red Sox. It's really interesting stuff. I hope they make one for the Celtics too, actually.
And folks, remember, we're going to email these tickets. So if you're listening to the podcast right now, we're going to be doing this all through the season.
Yes.
So we'll have nights where we're giving tickets away. So make sure you're always tuning into the podcast. Make sure you download the app. Yeah. We'll be doing this a lot. So thanks to Scott Lang, former mayor of New Bedford, the managing partner of Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. So make sure you're always listening to South Coast Tonight and you have the app downloaded, because you never know. Next time we're going to do this, and we're emailing the tickets. So if you live in the Boston area, we'll email you the tickets.
Yeah.
If you live in the Rhode Island area, we'll email you the tickets.
Yeah.
If you live in Connecticut, we'll email you the tickets. If you live in Lakeville, for God's sakes, we'll email you the tickets.
We'll email you the tickets. And that's thanks to our friends at Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard, our law firm and yours. So you're going to want to, if you need legal services, you're going to want to reach out to Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. New Bedford Mayor Scott Lang, certainly a well-practiced and outstanding attorney.
And a hell of a guy.
He
used to make sure I had the New York Times when I was in the hospital. It was really always there.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that is fantastic, right?
And he always makes sure we have pizza.
And he always shows up here with pizza.
Yeah.
And his wife sends us candy.
I gave you a copy of Jacobin in the hospital.
You did give me a copy of Jacobin. You know what's funny? I was reading Jacobin last night.
Oh, were you?
There's some articles by Michael Myerson, who was a longtime member of the Communist Party, who was writing about his experience as a communist, like a real official communist.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't read that yet. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. How you doing, Marcus and Chris?
Doing great. How are you, my friend?
Well, hanging in there. You know, this indictment with Trump, this is nothing more than nationalism versus globalism. The America First. And it's incredible how our legal system is it's the laughing stock of the world, because it's no more than Venezuela.
Obviously, like we said, it's of course politically motivated. That doesn't mean there wasn't any wrongdoing, but it is going to set an interesting precedent for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know that Donald Trump won't be the first president to be arrested. It was actually President Grant who was arrested for speeding with his horse.
No, he got He got a ticket. He got a ticket. He wasn't arrested.
He got arrested.
No.
Well,
he got it. And actually, and the funny thing about that is, he was speeding. He got a warning from the cop, and then afterwards he was speeding again. And then he got a ticket. Ulysses S. Grant, a Union general in the Civil War and the president, 18th president, I think, of the United States.
What I think is so dangerous about this guy is a local district attorney. Don't let the fact that he represents Manhattan, which is the biggest city in the world, or most important city in the world, I should say, don't let that fool you. The guy's a district attorney, no different than all the district attorneys we've had here in New Bedford. And he's indicting a former president. The shenanigans that this can bring in the future is really outrageous.
Well, from what I'm hearing, it's a state jurisdiction, and he's trying to take on a federal law, election law. So he's
it's
also
the federal election law would be
tied.
correct? Yeah, we don't know the indictments yet. So that's but the what we're hearing is it's the federal election, the campaign finance law violation is tied into the case that would make it a felony because the falsification of business records, as it's laid out in the potentially laid out in this case, is a misdemeanor unless it's in service of concealing a felony, in which case, or another crime. Rather, not even a felony, another crime, in which case would be the campaign finance law. That's how we understand it. But that's
I was just watching News Nation with Chris Como. I watch it so you guys don't have to watch it.
I
appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah, you know why? Well, he had Stormy Daniels' current lawyer. He says he's been the attorney since February 19 of this year. And Chris Como asked him if she's going to be a witness on the stand, and he didn't give an answer to that. And he also had a guest on. He had Alan Dershowitz, and he was talking about law professor.
And by the way, he's now listening audience.
He is.
He's in Martha's Vineyard and now listening audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he says, Como kind of gave him a dig, and he says Como says to him that he has more confidence in New Yorkers than in Alan Dershowitz. And then Alan Dershowitz, he had to fire back and said that he's a New Yorker and that the pizza in Staten Island's a lot better.
Well, they say they're going to move. I've heard someone today say that one of the moves that Trump's lawyers are going to do is to try to move the trial to the Staten Island jurisdiction because they feel he can get a better jury over there than he can from a Manhattan jury.
Yeah, that's what they say. Some even say they might be out of New York because the bias won't get a fair trial.
It's going to be there's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's why Marcus and I did not delay our Fairhaven guest tonight, because life is still going to go on for everybody.
And this is going to take years.
This is going to be years. Fortunately, Donald Trump has the money to fight the government.
As long as 5 years, I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time for a criminal case, but at least a couple.
He'll be done with his second term by the time this thing's over.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they also, Chris Como said Stormy Daniels is profiting heavily from this whole thing coming out with.
Yeah, but you know what she has to
Trump.
do to make that money? You don't want to switch places with her, I assure you of that.
Yeah, so she's going to ride that horse, no pun intended.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks for
that. My friend.
Thank you.
I got nothing to do with this.
Appreciate the call. We're going to take a break.
1420 WBSM, New Bedford's News Talk Station.
300.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle, an after school home, a section of my block, a corner to call my own. With my Y, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your Y. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
You've spent all day hearing about the news. Now's your chance to react to it.
Pick up your phone and call the professionals.
Call Chris and Marcus now at 508-996-0500 or send a text via app chat on the WBSM app. Now, back to South Coast Tonight.
So, welcome back to South Coast Tonight. I'm Chris McCarthy. As always, Marcus Farrow is here. So, folks, let me just tell you how we're going to do this. And you have to believe us. You have to trust us. We're simply going to assign every one of the stories, the Red Sox stories, a number. Then we're going to pick the number out of a hat. Okay, yeah. They're so good, and we're still taking stories.
Yeah, we're till 9 o'clock. You have until 9 o'clock.
10 more minutes to come up with your best Red Sox event, Red Sox memory, even if it was from home. Okay,
yeah.
And send in an app chat. Download the app. Send the app chat. Make sure you include your email. Because Scott Lang, who gave us the 4 tickets to tomorrow's Orioles game, his law office, Lang, X, Ferris, and Bullitt, is going to email you the tickets. You will have them tonight.
And by the way, we still got a few more memories. Someone talked about when the Red Sox player put at the parade put the trophy on the finish line of the Boston Marathon. When they Someone said when they won the World Series, when they broke the curse in 2004. I remember that. I was watching the game with my dad, actually, and my dad did not care about baseball, but he really cared about that. It was interesting. Right. Even if you didn't care about baseball,
it was huge.
You cared about that. And I remember when they got the game clinching out, he was like, yes,
Right?
He was like, yeah, it was a huge thing.
Marcus, if I could give the tickets to you, I would. That's a good story. I like that story.
We got to go back to the phones. Good evening.
All right, so here's my question. After you mentioned the DA angle, here's my question. If Donald Trump were an embattled candidate, a charismatic businessman trying to make his way in the world in politics, and he were running for mayor of Fall River, and he paid off a fine lady of the night for an evening at a motel in Swansea, do you think Tom Quinn would have brought charges against Donald Trump running for mayor of Fall River? That's my question.
I don't know if it came to his desk, okay, because the guy was arrested by the Fall River police, he would probably transfer it to the Cape.
All right.
Did the guy hang up?
Yeah, that's actually happened before where you have cases like that. They get removed to another district.
Maybe like an assistant district attorney picked up a hooker.
Yeah, then they'd get moved to probably like Plymouth County.
Is that where it got moved to?
Yeah, I don't know that case.
I don't recall either exactly where it got moved to.
I don't.
But what we're saying is that in a case like that, where prostitution is clearly illegal, although not regularly enforced, I don't think it's as questionable a case.
Yeah.
Because this is a very questionable legal theory that they're using, which I think is important part to keep in mind. That's why I keep saying, show me the man, I'll find the crime. Because once they pick you out and start going through your life, just about every one of us can be found reasonable to be prosecuted for a crime. Not even a conviction yet, right?
Yeah.
The process is the punishment. Donald Trump, I assure you, very few people in this listening audience have the personal wealth to defend themselves in a criminal case against the government.
508-996-0500. We got a bunch of calls. We got to take a break, though. Welcome back. Let's go to the phones. Good evening. You're live.
How you doing, sir?
Good.
Good. How you doing?
I remember my memory in the 80s when the Red Sox were doing a World Series. Someone let the ball go right through between their legs. Remember that?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Buckner.
Yep, in 86.
Yep, 86. I knew it was in the 80s. I just didn't know for sure.
Yep, 1986.
That was my memories of the Red Sox.
Yep. That was an unfortunate one.
Sad. They could have won that game, too.
Yep.
Thank you. You still got few more minutes to send in by app chat. Make sure you include your email.
I don't do app chat and all that. That's why I called in to see.
Oh, thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, bye-bye.
508-996-0500. Good evening.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on, my friend?
Do you guys give advice? I was looking for a little advice if you guys could help me.
Oh, boy.
I can. I'll try. Won't be good, probably, but let's go for it.
So I have this friend. Well, I wouldn't even say friend, but a coworker.
Friend of me?
And she gave me an item to hold on to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's hermetically sealed and everything. And she's like, you'll know when. She's like, bring this out at the most inopportune time. I just want you to hang on to it for safekeeping.
Okay.
So it's a blue dress.
Oh, no.
So when do you think I should bring it out? Like, what am I doing with this thing?
Well, if you want to...
I missed the point where I should have brought it out. I'm like, I'm stuck with this.
I would say bring
now.
it to the dry cleaner. Be done with it before you get deposed. Bring it to the dry cleaner.
Well, it's already hermetically sealed.
Oh,
and
good.
I don't know what it's holding in there, but I don't know.
Look closely.
My advice is bring it to the dry cleaners. That's what you're offering up?
I'm telling you to do that so you don't end up a witness in a national case. You can't handle the legal bills. I assure you, because I couldn't either.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I get out of this now, All right, so
You set me up for
drop
failure.
it off to the dry cleaners, and nobody knows it was me.
There you go.
Good enough.
Have a
All right, have a good April Fool's, guys.
Thanks for making me laugh. I appreciate it.
Good evening.
Marcus.
What's up?
What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, my friend?
Hey, I sent my app chat, and I just wanted to make sure I went through.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
so
Well,
much.
I
Thanks,
wanted to
Sean.
call. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually, you got a few more minutes. We're taking them until 9 o'clock, and we will pick the winner at random
We'll announce at the 9 o'clock hour.
at the 9 o'clock hour. So
Make sure you include your email address.
make sure you include your email address. That's the only way we can send it.
In fact, we're only going to pick from the names of the people who included.
Oh, my favorite Red Sox memory is when Jerry and Don couldn't stop laughing at the couple in the stands. When the camera panned, they caught the guy feeling up his wife.
How do you know it was his wife?
They couldn't stop laughing on the air for a few pitches.
That's
I was
funny.
watching live from home. It was comical. It's pretty good.
You better hope it was his wife.
Yeah, no kidding. So 508-996. Here's my Red Sox story. We got another one from Billy. It's July of 24th, 2004. It's a game we all know. A-Rod takes a foul ball off the lower back. He mouths off to Arroyo on the mound on his way. Veritek intervenes. Someone pushes someone else. Then the image of the year. Veritek shoves his catcher's mitt into A-Rod's face. Next thing we know, it's a bench clearing brawl. We all know this game, but here's what I remember. I was sitting on the third base just out of the bleacher shadows, where I watched as a hot dog fell from the sky. It was like God himself had dropped it. It made a splat landing on a lonesome Yankee fan deep in enemy territory wearing an A-Rod jersey. He stood up to look and threw. He got hit by a full cup of Budweiser. Some believe that fight was the turning point in Red Sox 2004 season. Not sure, but I decided then to believe in whatever hurled that hot dog. That's pretty good.
That is a good one.
That's a good
very,
one.
Very good.
All right, guys, you got another about 30 seconds to send your memories in, and then we're going to pick the winner at 9 o'clock.